Here's the text extracted from the images you provided. Port 1. A. Air pollution is increasingly becoming the focus of government and citizen concern around the globe. From Mexico City and New York to Singapore and Tokyo, new solutions to this old problem are being proposed, mailed, and implemented with ever-increasing speed. It is feared that unless pollution reduction measures are able to keep pace with the continued pressures of urban growth, air quality in many of the world's major cities will deteriorate beyond reason. Action is being taken along several fronts through new legislation, improved enforcement, and innovative technology. In Los Angeles, state regulators are forcing manufacturers to try to sell ever-cleaner cars. Their first of the cleanest, titled zero-emission vehicles, have to be available soon, since they are intended to make up 2% of sales in 1997. Local authorities in London are campaigning to be allowed to enforce anti-pollution laws themselves. At present, only the police have the power to do so, but they tend to be busy elsewhere. In Singapore, renting out road space to users is the way of the future. When Britain's Royal Automobile Club monitored the exhausts of 60,000 vehicles, it found that 12% of them produced more than half the total pollution. Older cars were the worst offenders, though a sizable number of quite new cars were also identified as gross polluters. They were simply badly tuned. California has developed a scheme to get these gross polluters off the streets. They offer a flat $700 for any old, run-down vehicle driven in by its owner. The aim is to remove the heavier polluting, most decrepit vehicles from the roads. As part of a European Union environmental program, a London council is testing an infrared spectrometer from the University of Denver in Colorado. It gauges the pollution from a passing vehicle, more useful than the annual stationary test that is the British standard today, by bouncing a beam through the exhaust and measuring what gets blocked. The council's next step may be to link the system to a computerized video camera, able to read number plates automatically. E. The effort to clean up cars may do little to cut pollution if nothing is done about the tendency to drive them more. Los Angeles has some of the world's cleanest cars, far better than those of Europe. But the total number of miles those cars drive continues to grow. One solution is carpooling, an arrangement in which a number of people who share the same destination share the use of one car. However, the average number of people in a car on the freeway in Los Angeles, which is 1.0, has been falling steadily. Increasing it would be an effective way of reducing emissions as well as easing congestion. The trouble is, Los Angeles seems to like being alone in their cars. Singapore has for a while had a scheme that forces drivers to buy a badge if they wish to visit a certain part of the city. Electronic innovations make possible increasing sophistication. Rates can vary according to road conditions, time of day, and so on. Singapore is advancing in this direction, with a city-wide network of transmitters to collect information and charge drivers as they pass certain points. Such road pricing, however, can be controversial. When the local government in Cambridge, England, considered introducing Singaporean techniques, it faced vocal and ultimately successful opposition. Part 2. The scope of the problem facing the world's cities is immense. In 1992, the United Nations Environmental Program and the World Health Organization, WHO, concluded that all of a sample of 20 megacities, places likely to have more than 10 million inhabitants in the year 2000, already exceeded the level the WHO deems healthy in at least one major pollutant. 2/3 of them exceeded the guidelines for 2, 7 for 3 or more. Of the 6 pollutants monitored by the WHO, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, lead, and particulate matter, it is this last category that is attracting the most attention from health researchers. PM10, a subcategory of particulate matter measuring 10 millionths of a meter across, has been implicated in thousands of deaths a year in Britain alone. Research being conducted in 2 counties of Southern California is reaching similarly disturbing conclusions concerning this little understood pollutant. A worldwide rise in allergies, particularly asthma, over the past 4 decades is now said to be linked with increased air pollution. The lungs and brains of children who grow up in polluted air offer further evidence of its destructive power. The old and ill, however, are the most vulnerable to the acute effects of heavily polluted stagnant air. It can actually hasten death, as it did in December 1991, when a cloud of exhaust fumes lingered over the city of London for over a week. The United Nations has estimated that in the year 2000, there will be 24 megacities and a further 85 cities of more than 3 million people. The pressure on public officials, corporations, and urban citizens to reverse established trends in air pollution is likely to grow in parallel with the growth of cities themselves. Progress is being made. The question, though, remains the same. Will change happen quickly enough? Let me know if you need further